Welcome to the Mind Spark. The world awoke to a headline that would change everything, an announcement so extraordinary, it seemed to blur the line between science fiction and reality. Voyager 1 breaks decades of silence with final unexplained transmission. The news spread like wildfire, igniting curiosity and fear in equal measure. NASA scrambled into an emergency session, stunned by a signal from interstellar space that defied all logic. The world's top scientists, engineers, and analysts were called in, their faces etched with disbelief and anticipation. For nearly 50 years, Voyager 1 had been our silent emissary to the stars, a testament to human curiosity, ambition, and the relentless drive to explore the unknown. Launched in 1977, it had traveled farther than any object made by human hands, carrying with it the hopes and dreams of an entire planet. On June 12, 2025, it spoke one last time, and its final words would upend our understanding of the universe. The timestamp on the data stream marked a moment that would be studied for generations. Out in the unimaginable emptiness between the stars, something had happened. In the cold, silent void where no human had ever ventured, a mystery was unfolding. Voyager 1, once a ghost ship drifting through the void, had sent a coherent, structured, and utterly impossible signal. It was as if the probe had awakened from a long slumber, reaching out with a message that defied explanation. At NASA's Jet Propulsion Laboratory, young engineers stared in disbelief. The signal wasn't just data, it was a response. The room buzzed with nervous energy as experts pored over the transmission, searching for meaning in every byte. Someone or something had found our tiny probe in the vast, dark ocean of space. The idea was both exhilarating and terrifying. Were we truly alone, or had we finally made contact? Initial skepticism gave way to a chilling realization. The signal was clean, intentional, and not ours. It bore the hallmarks of intelligence, a deliberate reply to a question we had asked so long ago. It was a reply to a message we sent half a century ago. The world remembered the golden record, a time capsule of humanity's greatest achievements, greetings, and music, launched into the unknown with a simple hope that someone, somewhere, might one day find it. Voyager's golden record, our music, languages, and hopes, had been found. The very artifacts meant to represent Earth had become the bridge between worlds, a beacon in the cosmic dark. The thought that it might actually be answered was once a distant fantasy, a dream whispered among astronomers and dreamers. Now that fantasy had become reality, and the implications were staggering. Now, humanity stood on the brink of its most profound discovery. Across the globe, people gathered around screens, united in awe and apprehension as the news unfolded in real time. The boundaries between nations faded, replaced by a shared sense of wonder and uncertainty. The control room's hum faded into tense silence as the world waited for answers. Every second felt like an eternity, as scientists and citizens alike held their breath, hoping for a glimpse of what lay beyond. Our message in a bottle had not only been found, it had been answered. The universe, once thought to be cold and indifferent, had whispered back, forever altering our place within it. The universe, it seemed, was no longer silent. For the first time in history, humanity was not just listening, but being heard. And as the signal echoed across the stars, a new chapter in our cosmic story was about to begin. To grasp the weight of this moment, you must understand Voyager 1. Launched in 1977, it was humanity's first emissary to the outer planets and beyond. After its planetary tour, Voyager 1 crossed into interstellar space, becoming our lonely sentinel in the cosmic wilderness. Now, over 15 billion miles from home, it is utterly alone, powered by a fading plutonium core. We expected its end to be a quiet fade into oblivion. Instead, we received a sharp, clear signal, something that carried an intelligence not its own. The probe built to observe had become the observed. Our silent ambassador had encountered something in the dark, and that something used our own technology to send a message back. The universe had other plans for Voyager's final moments. Bolted to Voyager 1 is the Golden Record, a 12-inch gold-plated disc holding the soul of its mission. It's a message in a bottle. Images, sounds, greetings, and music from Earth meant for any civilization that might find it. The odds of it being discovered were infinitesimal, but it was a gesture of hope and curiosity. The record's instructions, etched into its cover, invited the cosmos to understand us. On that fateful day, the final transmission from Voyager 1 echoed the very information stored on the Golden Record. Someone had found it, and understood it. They played our music, saw our images, and listened to our greetings. Now, they were using our own probe to talk back. The impossible had happened. Our message had completed its journey. For years, Voyager 1's transmissions had grown faint and predictable, a steady heartbeat from the edge of our solar system, until the anomaly. The spacecraft, drifting through the endless night, had become a distant echo of humanity's reach, its signals routine, almost forgotten by all but a handful of dedicated engineers. Then, suddenly, A burst of data, embedded in the usual telemetry, caught their attention. At first it was dismissed as a glitch, just another artifact of aging hardware. But when the anomaly repeated, each time more structured, more deliberate, curiosity turned to concern. The engineers at JPL pored over the data, their eyes scanning lines of code and signal printouts. Patterns began to emerge, patterns that defied explanation. This was no malfunction, it was a message, intentional and intelligent, hidden within the static. The overnight shift at NASA, once a quiet vigil, suddenly became the most important in history. The hum of computers and the low murmur of voices filled the control room as the team realized the magnitude of what they were witnessing. Word spread quickly, but only to those who needed to know. Experts from around the world were brought in under strict secrecy to analyze the signal, their faces illuminated by the glow of monitors as they debated its origin. Every possibility was considered and methodically ruled out: interference, cosmic rays, natural phenomena, even sabotage. Theories were scribbled and crossed out on whiteboards, but none could explain the growing evidence. The conclusion became inescapable: the signal was artificial, piggybacking on Voyager's ancient transmitter. Someone, or something, had found our probe and was using it to speak. The atmosphere at JPL shifted instantly. What was once routine became charged with awe and a creeping sense of terror. Every glance, every whispered conversation carried the weight of history. First contact protocols, long considered a theoretical exercise, were now urgently retrieved and reviewed. The binders marked "First Contact" were opened with trembling hands. The weight of the moment pressed down on everyone in the room. The silence was thick, broken only by the soft tapping of keyboards and the occasional gasp of realization. Outside, the world waited unknowingly. How do you tell humanity that the universe is not empty, that we are not alone, and that the first message has arrived not with a roar, but a whisper? Our first contact was not a grand arrival, no ships in the sky, but a faint, cryptic message from the darkness, a puzzle sent across the void, waiting to be solved. The shock was profound, a seismic shift in our understanding of our place in the cosmos. Faces in the control room reflected disbelief, wonder, and fear all at once. In that instant, humanity's place in the universe changed forever. The boundaries of our world expanded, and the questions we had always asked, "Are we alone?" suddenly demanded new answers. The silence of space had been broken, replaced by the echo of a message from the stars. And as the world waited, the universe felt just a little less empty. Decoding the message was monumental. It was a challenge that pushed the boundaries of human ingenuity and collaboration, demanding the combined expertise of scientists, mathematicians, linguists, and cryptographers from around the globe. The world watched in anticipation as teams worked around the clock, knowing that every breakthrough could change our understanding of the universe. The signal was a complex stream of binary, structured in a way that mirrored the Golden Record's data. Each bit and byte seemed to echo the patterns we had sent out decades ago, as if the sender had studied our message and chosen to respond in kind, using our own digital language as a bridge. The sender used our own format as a Rosetta Stone, a direct reply. This was not a random transmission but a deliberate act of communication crafted to ensure we would recognize it as a response to our own cosmic greeting. The first layer was mathematics: prime numbers, geometric ratios, pi, a universal greeting. These mathematical constants are the same everywhere in the cosmos, a language that transcends culture, biology, and even planetary origin. It was their way of saying, "We are intelligent, we understand the language of the universe." It was their way of shaking hands, proving intelligence in a language beyond biology. This mathematical handshake was a profound gesture, a sign of mutual recognition and respect between two civilizations separated by unimaginable distances. Next came responses to our images. Diagrams of a different biological form, a map of an unknown star system. They showed us glimpses of their own existence, their anatomy, and the place they called home, inviting us to imagine life beyond Earth in ways we had never considered. It was a conversation across trillions of miles and decades. The vastness of space and the passage of time made this exchange all the more extraordinary, a testament to the persistence and hope of both sender and receiver. The final layer was a sound, a modified Brandenburg concerto, reharmonized into a somber, mournful key. The familiar melody was transformed as if filtered through the emotions and experiences of another world, carrying a message that words alone could not express. It was our song, played back with a new, darker emotion. The music resonated with a sense of longing, perhaps even sorrow, as if the senders were sharing not just their knowledge, but their feelings and fears as well. The message was beautiful, unsettling, and seemed to carry a warning. It left us with more questions than answers, hinting at dangers or challenges that lay ahead, and urging us to listen carefully to what was being shared. They were showing us who they were, and that they understood us. This was more than a reply, it was an invitation to connect, to learn, and to recognize our place in a much larger cosmic story. The decoding effort united the world's best minds in secret. Scientists, engineers, and thinkers from every continent set aside differences to work together, driven by the shared hope of making contact with another intelligent species. The reply was unmistakable. We had been heard. For the first time in history, humanity was no longer alone in the universe, and the journey of understanding had only just begun. The scientific data in the message was terrifying, not a threat but a demonstration. The senders had scanned Voyager 1 with unimaginable precision, mapping every circuit and understanding its technology completely. Our most advanced probe was, to them, a child's toy. They included detailed models of our solar system, the Oort cloud, and the sun's heliosphere, far beyond our own knowledge. It was clear they had been observing us long before Voyager arrived. Our probe hadn't stumbled upon them, they had been waiting. The realization we were the ones being observed, specimens under a cosmic microscope. The power dynamic of the universe had shifted. The message included a timeline, predicting Voyager's shutdown to the second. They waited until the last possible moment to reveal themselves. It was a deliberate, calculated act, a final whisper we could never ignore. The universe was watching, and it had chosen its moment. The confirmation that we are not alone should have been a celebration. Instead, it was a sobering realization. The universe already knows we're here. Our message was answered on their terms, using our own messenger. Our history, our evolution, may have unfolded under the watchful eye of an unseen observer. We are no longer the loudest voices in an empty forest, but children realizing the adults have been watching all along. The message was not hostile, but a clear display of superiority. Their motives remain a mystery, their silence more unsettling than any threat. Our explorations are now about security as much as discovery. The search for extraterrestrial life is over. Understanding our new neighbors has just begun. The final transmission from Voyager 1 was a direct, structured reply. It began with prime numbers, establishing a universal language, then showed our hydrogen atom diagram, annotated with a particle unknown to us. Their message: we see your understanding and we can add to it. The biological section depicted a life form adapted to higher gravity, profoundly alien yet unmistakably intelligent. The musical reply embedded scientific data within a reharmonized Bach concerto, a fusion of art and knowledge. They had integrated our culture into their science. But the final part was the most chilling, a replication of the Akkadian greeting from the Golden Record, altered. The message now read, "Be quiet." It was not a threat, but a warning. The universe had spoken, and its message was clear. Humanity was no longer alone, and no longer unnoticed. Be quiet. The final message from Voyager 1 is a warning, not a threat. It comes from a civilization that has watched us, understands us, and can manipulate our technology from light years away. Perhaps they see us as a young species making too much noise in a dangerous cosmic neighborhood. The era of shouting into the void is over. We must now listen. Our missions must be re-evaluated, our approach more cautious and humble. The universe is not an empty stage but a crowded theater where it is wiser to watch and listen. Voyager 1 has completed its ultimate mission, delivering a reply that changes everything. Our journey into the cosmos has just begun, and we now know we are not and have never been alone.